Yes, so my name is Jorge Pollatos. I am one of the founders of SeedTag, together with Albert. We are co-CEOs, so we kind of manage the company together. And we're here to tell the story of our recent Series B. Yeah.
Cool.
So, Sasha?
Shall I continue?
Pablo? Welcome on stage. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Sorry.
Hola.
Nice. Hola. Well, sorry for interrupting you.
Shall I
Please
just
go.
continue?
Please go on. Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
no worries. My name is Sasha Gunta. I'm a partner with Oakley Capital. We are a growth-focused investor with a pan-European mandate, typically backing entrepreneurs like these two gentlemen in the technology, consumer, and education spaces.
Yeah, I'm Albert Nieto, and as Jorge anticipated, I'm also co-founder and co-CEO at SeedTag. And yeah, I'm managing more the business and finance part of the business, and Jorge is more in charge of product and technology. And obviously, all the strategic decisions are shared.
Okay, so my name is Pablo Moro. I'm head of new ventures and investments in Telefónica Ventures. We are the corporate venture capital of Telefónica. We have under portfolio 24 startups, direct investments, and also we have a network of 12 funds across Latin America, mainly Brazil, Spain, Israel, and Silicon Valley as well. Thank you very much, South Summit, for moderating the panel. I would love to speak, obviously, about three questions. Firstly, the Series B of SeedTag, one of the recent boom here in Spain in a Series B, not very usual here in Spain. Secondly, the Series B as a next milestone for new startups. And thirdly, the Sacha's view of the Spanish ecosystem as well. So, Jorge, Alberto, I'd like to, if you can speak about how did you launch your own business maybe 3-4 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we decided to start our own company when we were together working at Google. We both kind of flirted with entrepreneurship when we were younger, because I created an online record label with my brother, and 300 music bands were using that. Jorge created a shoe brand that was selling 500 shoes, if I don't recall badly, in the first summer. But at that time, it was all for fun. I think neither Jorge or myself were ready to dedicate fully to entrepreneurship yet. But yeah, after some years in finance, in consultancy, and finally working together at Google, that situation changed. We felt that we find the right partner for each other. We raised some capital. We found the right idea, and we decided to quit Google, which is never easy as a decision. But yeah, we were full of energy to start our own venture, and that's how we quit, and we started 7 years ago.
Okay. But what exactly is SeedTag, and what is now the momentum? Yeah, whatever you prefer. I don't know how you want to divide.
So SeedTag is today the leading contextual advertising company in Europe and LATAM. What we do is we offer the brands the possibility to target their customers without using cookies, so respecting the privacy of the users, which actually today is a very relevant topic, because we see that first of all, the users are fed up with the ads kind of following them through the web. And secondly, the browsers and the legislators are limiting this for the good of the community. So yeah, we're trying to improve that and offer like outstanding performance for the brands and the publishers that work with us.
Okay. What kind of players do you foresee in the future in this world after cookies? You know, you foresee companies like, I don't know, e-commerce companies, telco companies, banks companies. What kind of world do you imagine in this new world in advertising?
So in the world without cookies, what we will see is that the big walled gardens, which are mostly Facebook and Google, they will continue operating because Google used the login in the browser to chase the user, so they don't need the cookies. That's why they're comfortable limiting the use of cookies, because they don't need them. And in the case of Facebook, it's kind of the same, because in Facebook, everything happens within its domain. So advertising for Facebook means advertising in Facebook or in Instagram or in WhatsApp, that there is no advertising yet. And for that use, you need the first-party cookies, and first-party cookies are okay. The ones that are going to be stopped are the third-party cookies. So these two players will continue and probably will grow even faster, which is a little bit sad for the industry because there is almost a monopoly, a duopoly. But we will see also another players like CTAG that are leveraging mostly on contextual technology to be able to understand the user interest in real time and to target the ads based on that, based on the real-time interest, and not on the historical patterns and the historical consumption of the users.
Okay.
Actually, what we saw is that there are two different approaches to this new regulation. Some companies in that space, what are trying to do is to build what they, for example, unified IDs, which is an alternative to cookies. And some others are trying to do a different thing. We are in the second group because we believe that the problem with cookies is not a technological problem. It's a principle problem that people don't want to be followed and tracked in the internet. So yeah, we believe that the companies with the brightest future in this future without cookies are those who find an alternative that is effective for brands, but they respect the privacy of users. That we are not trying to replicate a technological way to do the same thing. We are trying to do a completely different thing that respects users' privacy.
Okay, cool. Well, this is for Sacha. I guess this is not the first investment in Spain, right, of Oakley,
No.
but it's the first in venture capital, right?
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure I would necessarily call it venture capital per se, right? It's an incredibly established company. It's quite a magical year, 7th year, that the guys invited us to come along. It's been growing rapidly over the years, and it certainly has a very meaningful presence in pretty much all of the European markets, right? So I would probably rather call it a growth company that is at an interesting inflection point, which is also usually the stage when we come in, right? When it makes a pretty big difference if you're kind of going one direction or if you're really accelerating your growth journey. And it made a ton of sense for us meeting the guys and learning about their journey and what they're up to, especially their plans to further internationalize their business and also then tackle the US to truly become the global leader. Just made a ton of sense for us and our investment thesis.
Okay. Well, what did you like about SITAC?
The founders?
The most. Yeah. That
Let me
was the
start
second,
with the founders
the
because
next
you
question.
brought it up.
Please.
Yeah. No, but seriously.
And how did you find it as well?
Well, interestingly enough, Jorge and I, many, many years ago, more than 10 years ago, used to work for the same consulting company. Now, he took a much wiser path, I have to say, much more successful for sure, and built his own business together with Albert. I think 2 years ago, we had a chat if this could potentially make sense for Oakley to come in. It was maybe slightly early, but now it really made a ton of sense given that the guys were really looking to accelerate their growth. That's how we met. Coming back to the question of what did we like, I mean, kidding aside, the team, the founders is for sure the #1 criterion that we're looking at. When it doesn't matter which stage it is, whenever we're backing a company, in essence, we're backing the entrepreneurs and the founders behind it, right? It's always the #1. Secondly, it's certainly the business opportunity. We like to back theses that are in pretty big markets that are going through disruption, ideally led by businesses that are leading this movement, right? And thirdly, for us as Oakley, it's really important that we can bring a lot of value add to the table. If we're just financial resources and capital, that's not for us. And we wouldn't feel comfortable, and I don't think there is any reason why we, as a financial backer, or you guys as entrepreneurs, should ever consider that if you don't see the clear value add, which in this case, to us, was pretty apparent, and then it made a ton of sense for us on a pretty expedited timeline to come to a deal.
Okay, but deep dive in the way you found SeedTag, I would love to know more about how do you normally do this activity of scouting Series B. You know, it's not. I mean, it's a difference between a sniper strategy and a spray and pray strategy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And well, we certainly don't have a spray and pray strategy.
Yeah,
That would
that's
be
right.
too difficult. Also, the tickets that we're investing, quite frankly, are too big. We're managing more than 4 billion assets under management, so quite considerable number, and also the ticket sizes, they're very well thought through and considered. Well, I guess you have a couple of approaches that you can take. Certainly on SeedTag, it's been very much a thematic approach, where I mean, the guys basically foresaw this shift in market structure many, many years ago, right? Something that I think is now just becoming very apparent, that the advertising industry and the ad tech industry are going through a massive change. The call for privacy, consumers much more demanding that privacy also to be protected, and that also the digital giants actually following this call of consumers, and legislators also following through that, and developing a tech solution that is really addressing this need, you don't see very often, but given the exposure to the theme that we have been following for many years in the sector, it made a ton of sense to back exactly a disruptor like SeedTag is in a market that has not only changed very rapidly, but I think also in the years ahead will change very, very massively.
Okay. Okay, this question is for Jorge and Alberto. I don't know how do you divide the duties in SeedTag. I don't know. That's why I'm not sure who.
You can ask and we will
Okay.
take it. Don't worry.
Okay. Why did you decide to go for Series B? And I mean, it was like kind of Series B or death, or did you have any other option?
Yeah, Series B or death, certainly not. I mean, we've been profitable for many years already. One of the key things for us was timing. I mean, when we were expanding in Europe and LATAM, we didn't need the financial support and the strategic partnership that Sasha was mentioning before. We knew how to do it, and investing our own resources was enough. But if we want to tackle the US for this kind of challenge, the support of a partner like Oakley made absolutely a ton of sense. So for us, it was critical to know, okay, now we are ready for this big challenge of going to the biggest and largest advertising market in the world. We need to find this kind of partnership. So that was the key reason for us.
Yeah, on top of that, we like to kind of structure our story in 3 different stages so far. So stage number 1 was from 0 to 5 million in revenues, and that was about getting product market fit and about getting the product into the, getting the first revenues. Stage number 2 was from 5 to 50, and that was about internationalizing the company, consolidating the technology, and for that, we brought in venture capital, like Adara, which has been our partner for quite a long time, a very good partner. And the stage number 3, which is where we're entering now, is from 50 to 500 million in revenues. And for that, we thought that we needed a new partner with deep pockets and also big experience in the industry that could come along with us for this massive opportunity.
Actually, in this transition from this second stage to the third stage, something that happened to us is that a lot of strategic, well, not some strategic players wanted to acquire SeedTag. And for Jorge and myself, it was a big thing because the tickets that we were discussing, it was like a life-changing event for us. So it's very tough to say no to these kind of offers. But at some point, we analyzed the company. We saw the kind of growth that we were having. We had a clear roadmap for the next 5 years to completely transform SeedTag into hopefully $1 billion business. And we decided to say no to these offers and find the right partner for us, raise this capital, and go for it. And we got this question very often of what should happen in Spain to have more unicorns or to have more bigger companies. And I think a very obvious one is say no, founders and VCs, to this kind of $100 million checks, $150 million checks, when it's the right thing to say no, sometimes the right thing is to say yes, right? But if you feel that the right thing is to say no because you are leaving a lot of upside on the table, I think we have to start saying no and being a little bit more ambitious and go for it, right? So we had this discussion internally, and yeah, we thought that we would be better off with the right PE, growth equity partner, and trying to do this 50 to 500 than selling the company for these kind of tickets.
Okay, this question is for Sacha. What do you look for in a later stage investment like this Series B normally?
I think Albert's summary is perfect, right? It's exactly that. A founder team
Also
that
a founder's
has...
team as well. I mean,
Say that again?
This is normally in pre-series and Series A, but in Series B, it's so important that obviously it's important the team, even in Telefonica as well. But
Let
if
me
you
put
have
it this
to
way.
prioritize this,
For Oakley as a partner, the entrepreneurs in the team is the #1 criteria, for sure. And the reason is Oakley is an entrepreneurial fund. It's not a typical financial sponsor, if you will. We were founded by an entrepreneur who all his life has built businesses, accumulated wealth, and then used that wealth to establish a platform, which is Oakley. And the idea of Oakley was to back like-minded entrepreneurs with whatever resources they need, right? And what we have found over the years, and I think that's fair to say, having partnered with a number of entrepreneurs and built actually a number of unicorns across multiple European countries, it's exactly that, right? Having this dedication and saying no, not being focused on a quick flip, a quick exit, quickly maximizing valuation maybe, but truly building value in the long term. And I think that just massively differentiates the truly great entrepreneurs from maybe some of the quicker flippers, which you maybe see in other countries and other markets maybe. But then also coming back to the product, and I think that just makes a ton of difference, what Jorge said in the beginning. The solution that CTAG had developed, and this is something that we're looking for, has a true USP, right? No matter what metric you're looking at, no matter which customer that they're serving, you're asking, it's providing them a superior solution. And that just makes a difference. And the winning products also usually create the winning businesses in the end. And these are all criteria that we could tick with CTAG. And these are also the things that we're looking for in other, say, Series A or growth, or also buyout situations.
okay, what advice can you share to other founders who are looking for a Series B that maybe are in the audience or maybe later can see the YouTube of
I mean, I think
South
Albert's
Summit?
advice is certainly a really good one. Do not sell too early.
Okay.
I think that makes a ton of sense. And correlated to that, probably also, don't look to just simply maximize valuation, no matter at which cost, because that can be pricey. I mean, WeWork has also maximized valuation many times, and it didn't work out in the end. I think it's incredibly important to find the right partner, right? Ideally, it's a long-term journey for a couple of years, so really look for someone who can provide you the strategic access, partnership, the right discussions, the expertise, the network, whatever is required in the stage of the company. I think it's also important running through a process like a Series B or a growth stage funding round, whatever it is, requires a ton of resources. So really being prepared as a company is incredibly important. Again, coming back to these guys, I mean, all the data, all the reportings, everything was there. So kind of all that process was incredibly smooth. So I think being ready for that is incredibly important, so that you can also focus on your day-to-day business and very quickly get back to it. Yeah, I mean, I think...
I would add to that also the mental strength to go through
Sure.
the process.
For sure, yeah.
It's a
It can be
tough one.
painful. Sometimes it can be painful.
How do
especially
you measure this?
Compared to, for example, VC investments in terms of the due diligence process, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
fair.
much more intense,
Really?
much more intense due diligence process. So, and it's a longer process, and there are ups and downs. So
How long was the process?
think we started conversations in March, right?
6 months, yeah.
6 months, wow.
Maybe
I
a little
think
bit
the
less.
guys, they
because
went on
I mean,
holiday
you
or
start with a
something.
Series B, you
That's
finish
why.
with a Series.
That could be good or bad. It depends on the evolution of the company. In their case, it was good because the company had a very good performance this year. But no, to be honest, I mean, it's a long process. You are negotiating something absolutely important for your company, and you will have ups and downs. And being able to manage those ups and downs is difficult. And for me, one of the keys is to have a partner that you have maximum trust, that you can call at night, and that you can kind of share the pain and share the glory, which was.
At some point, I mean, we were dreaming about the deal, and it was not always sweet dreams, you know.
And it's difficult to have the focus on the business, but also, I mean, on the team.
That's an important one. I mean, this process 4 years ago, when the importance in the day-to-day of Jorge and myself was much bigger, it would have been painful for the company. So one of the proofs that it never happened, because we are very operational founders, but it was a test for the company to see what happens when Jorge and myself are just busy in another thing, you know. And we have grown more than ever, so maybe
It accelerated throughout the
it's
process
the proof.
when these guys stayed out.
It's the proof that maybe the best thing we can do is stay at home. But yeah, honestly, I totally agree on the point of Jorge that it's a long process. You have to be ready, and things will happen. Okay, for us, just sharing with the audience, because the kind of stuff that I guess you want to know. 2 weeks before signing, one of the investors just changed completely the conditions of the deal, you know.
Actually, they said we don't want to sell.
We don't want to
the
sell.
deal.
We don't want to sell under these
And
conditions.
like, what the fuck?
And
We've been like for 5 months working on this. You said
It-
2
it-
weeks before that you don't want the deal.
It was super stressful for us. It was really a very tough point after 6 months negotiating, etc. And we as entrepreneurs, we are like first-time doers of everything. First time building the company, first time selling overseas, first time launching a new product, first time everything. And for us, it was first time raising $40 million, of course. But these guys, is their business. They are doing it every day, every week. So seeing in the other part of the table, Sasha and the team really making us feel that, guys, don't worry, we will sort it out, we will find a solution, and sharing with us this feeling that the most important thing is securing the deal happening and securing the long-term relationship between us, because it's about building the billion-dollar company afterwards. It's not about signing the deal. That meant a lot to us and helped a lot. So thank you, Sasha.
Well, thank you. Because what's next for SIGTAG? I mean, is a unicorn? Are you thinking on this?
Well, what I have to sign?
Hopefully it becomes a unicorn. I mean, as we said, the next milestone that we see is the 500 million in revenues, which if we get there, we will be a unicorn. And we have a few challenges ahead to make that happen. First of all, is expanding into the US, which is one of the biggest challenges for almost any European company. Second, we need to consolidate our position in the big European markets. So we have operations in the UK, in France, and Germany. We're doing
just three countries now.
No, we're in 9.
Okay.
As we are also in Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia.
Okay.
But markets like the UK, Germany, and France, they have a huge potential because they are very big advertising markets, and we are still in the early days. So taking them to their maximum potential is another big challenge. And of course, scaling the organization, that's also something that we are now dealing with. We're hiring people.
How many people are you now?
240 people.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think with the kind of ideas that Jorge has for central team, I think next year we will be close to 320.
We were discussing that in the taxi. He was saying that I was hiring too much, but no, yeah, scaling the team is also very important for companies in our stage. And it's been a very nice challenge since day one, because the organization has been evolving a lot. And we've been adapting to the CEO role every single, like every couple of years, our role was changing. So
Okay. Okay, so Sacha, about the Spanish VC ecosystem, what opportunities do you see in the region right now?
I mean, obviously, we love
Because
the
Series
region.
B here in Spain normally are for foreign investors as of
Yeah,
today.
I think our investment track record in Spain is probably testament to how much we like the region. CITAG is our fourth investment in Spain. Before, as you rightly said, we backed Idealista, classifieds business, and then two more software businesses, Econ and Primavera. And yeah, CITAG, I think, hopefully will be one of a lot more to come. And the reasons, I think, are pretty apparent, right? I mean, just look at this conference. When you're walking around and just speaking to the people, the businesses and the ideas that all these entrepreneurs and founders are coming up with are absolutely incredible. And I think you're seeing that truly this ecosystem is growing and growing and is nurturing and is building local and also international champions. And I think what we usually like to see is that with our thesis, we can address a very significant market, right? And you have 50 million people, I think, in Spain. Digitalization is rapidly increasing. We love to back businesses that are very much digital-led. So bringing all of this together ticks a lot of boxes for us. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that hopefully there's a lot more to come for Oakley in the region.
Okay, nice news. And how do Spanish founders compare to other UK founders, European founders? I'm not speaking about them, obviously.
No, they're exceptional.
we're more
They're
handsome.
You two especially, I have to say. Well, I mean, I think great founders are great probably no matter which region you look at. But I think what you can say for Spain is that, as I've said, this ecosystem is really nurturing and bringing up a lot more of them on a continuous basis. And they're successful as entrepreneurs. They then maybe start investing themselves. They build and fund larger businesses. And that is just nurturing and developing this overall ecosystem. And I think that's something that we've been observing in the region over the last couple of years. And what I can say just from the couple of conversations that I've also had at this conference, and I'm truly hoping that we as Oakley will be lucky enough to back a number of the entrepreneurs here as well, be it in growing maybe their businesses within the region or potentially also internationalizing them, which is one of the core theses that Oakley is backing.
Okay, yes. One question for all you. What do you think about the role of the corporate investment vehicles, like, for example, Telefónica Ventures? Do you have positive, negative feelings, mixed feelings, the three of you?
Ah.
Sorry. Wasn't on the list.
Yeah, I think it's the corporates should play a role in the ecosystem, and this is the first thing to understand. I think there are other countries that corporates are much more active buying startups, and I think it's something that if that happened in Spain more and more, we would see. It would help a lot the ecosystem. I think corporates doing investment, I mean, it's an option, but there are professional investors, and I think there is enough money in the ecosystem in the different stages. I mean, good projects get funded. I think that's not the issue. But corporates buying startups, I think it would really make it much more dynamic and much more interesting for all the other actors in the ecosystem. So my feedback would be to try to be more active on acquiring companies in a way to diversify their businesses, grow, and that's my view.
Sacha, please.
Well, I guess I have a very personal view on that because as Oakley, we actually partnered twice with a corporate. A media group, ProSiebenSat.1, on two businesses in the internet consumer space. And I think when a corporate has a strategic angle to a situation and a clear value add, as in the case of these businesses where they massively accelerated TV advertising, and that was one of the key levers to really grow the business, then I think it's fascinating. And we as Oakley are incredibly flexible. Obviously, we love to back the entrepreneurs, but if it makes sense to partner with others, be it corporates, financial sponsors, or whatnot, as long as it makes sense and it creates value for everyone there, we're very much up for it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I agree with Albert. Usually for entrepreneurs, it is easier to deal with venture capital, seed investors, and because you can see maybe even a little bit of a conflict in interest in the future. You always have this story of if a strategic is already invested in your company for a future exit, you could have a problem, especially if they have a right of acquiring the company. So we tend to like more like the independent investors. But it is true that every entrepreneur is looking for an exit at some point, and there are very few exits from Spanish startups to Spanish corporates. And I think that's an opportunity that the corporates are missing, because if you want to be disruptive, if you want to accelerate, look at Google, look at these guys. They're creating Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram acquisitions, while here we don't see a lot of M&A from corporates.
There is a closer one to you. Altis, actually, which is kind of a French competitor to yours, acquired one of our biggest competitors, which is Teads, for 300 million. Today, Teads is worth probably more than 3 billion. So we can argue it was a nice business, a nice acquisition for Altis. We never thought that Telefónica could acquire us, but why Teads can do it to Altis, and we are not even thinking about Telefónica, So that's something that I think will change in the future. Let's see at which path that happens. But I think it would be amazing for the ecosystem.
Yeah, let's see. So thank you very much. Thank you very much to the audience, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pablo.